So the story that people are buzzing about today is the squatters that got into a house in Phoenix where their ex is now. The woman moved out. The husband is a long-haul trucker, so the house was vacant. Squatters moved into it, and then they basically sold the house that they didn't even own, which blows my mind. Now, we had a chance back in October, our news department did, to talk with Constable Scott Blake, who is a constable of the Hassayampa Precinct. And the constable is kind of law enforcement of the Justice Court, and he joins us now. Are you there? Scott, are you there?
I am. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Constable, for being on with us. We do appreciate it because you're kind of one of those unsung heroes. You're the guy that has to go do some of the really, I got to tell you, when you get up in the morning, do you think, oh, boy, I get to go evict people today? That's a hard gig.
Yeah, nobody wants to be known for that.
No. Is there an avenue for getting somebody out of your house? If I come home and somebody's sitting on the couch, what do I even do?
Well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to call 911.
Okay.
And you're going to get a police response to the house. And then in most cases, that person is going to be arrested for trespassing. If by some reason they happen to produce a lease agreement, well, then that's going to start the eviction process.
And that's different than a criminal process. Is that?
It is.
Okay.
It is very different because the eviction process is going to take about 21 days.
Ugh.
So we're talking with Constable Scott Blake. He's the constable of the Hassayampa Precinct. Now, here's where I get a little hung up. Clean this up for me, Constable. I saw that they could actually produce a fake lease when they're confronted by law enforcement, and then the case would become a civil issue instead of a criminal issue. What constitutes a fake lease? If I take out a piece of paper and write lease on it and put an X and then scribble my signature, is that a lease? What makes it a fake lease?
Generally, they have printed up a lease agreement and then they themselves have signed it, and then another party has signed it on behalf of the homeowner or property manager. And when that's produced to law enforcement, they're going to back out, and it becomes a civil issue where you will have to file for an eviction.
At some point, does that become fraud?
Well, I'm sure it does, but it's got to work its way through the system and then show that they never had a lease so you could turn around and go after them again.
Constable Scott Blake is a constable at Hassayampa Precinct. He's joining us right now. How long? You said it takes 21 days to evict somebody. Is it? I'm assuming that you've probably seen homeowners that become, I'm going to say, enraged by a situation such as this. Is there ever a concern that somebody is going to get violent, that things could escalate?
It could, and that's where you want to assure them that they will have their day in court, that the people who are there illegally squatting will be removed from the property.
Okay.
So, but walk me through that. Let's say I get home and it's my house and somebody else is squatting there. How long do I have to then go live somewhere else and deal with them living in my house, potentially, likely destroying it, damaging it, doing things I don't want them to do?
If they have produced a fraudulent lease, you're going to be serving them with a 5-day notice, which demands that they basically leave that premises in 5 days. If that doesn't work, you're going to have to go to court. You're going to file for a summons and complaint, have that served on them, which is as simple as a process server or a constable knocking on the door. If there is no answer, they post that on the door and send it to them certified mail. The following week, you're going to have a court case, and then you're going to be able to prove that they don't have a lease. And then 5 days later, the writ will issue, and that will get a constable or a sheriff's civil deputy to the house to facilitate the eviction, which is actually removing them from the property.
Gosh, what a nightmare going through all of this. Do you have a couple quick strategies or pieces of guidance that you would give people so they don't end up in these situations?
Yeah, with the situation that happened in Phoenix where you've seen like title fraud,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you can go to the Maricopa County Assessor's website, and right on there you can click on Maricopa Title Alert, and that will help if somebody then wants to try to sell the house while they are basically in possession of it. But the simplest things to do to keep squatters out of your house is to make the home look like it's lived in. Install an alarm system and use it. Ask your neighbors to watch your house. Install motion sensor lights inside the house and outside the house. Lock your windows and your doors, including the garage door that goes from your garage to inside your house. Use timers on your lights on the inside, and certainly don't announce on social media that you are leaving for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
And lastly, I'd say to invest in a doorbell camera.
Hey, with Squatting on the Rise, we're talking with Constable Scott Blake. He is the constable of the Hassayampa Precinct. Constable, thank you so much for joining us. And gosh, good luck doing what you do out there, because this sounds miserable. And you almost have to be a counselor and a mitigator when you go out and deal with some of these situations, I'm guessing.
You do, and oftentimes we have to go into what I call de-escalation mode for both parties, because you're dealing with two people who have a lot of emotion involved in it, the person who's squatting and the person who owns the home.
Thank you so much for coming on with us. We greatly appreciate it.
All right. He seems like a really nice guy. And I was thinking for that
you
job.
need somebody like that.
Well, I was thinking for that job, you got to be either really nice, which he is, and he says you go into de-escalation. You got to try to listen to people and bring them down a
Oh,
little
boy. Or like a grizzly bear.
Or you go the other way, right? And you turn into Jack Reacher out there. It's like, you're going to do it my way. This is how it's going to work, right? There's no in between. You have to be super nice de-escalation guy, or you have to be super commanding bully guy.
What was the Keanu Reeves series of movies? That there were 3 or 4 of them.
John Wick?
Yeah. You got to become like that guy.
Yeah, right? It's like you go one way or the other. I was reading up on title insurance as well, and what I learned from title insurance is, that doesn't stop anything either.
What?
Yeah. I was reading up on the title insurance, and they said the title insurance doesn't really protect your home. It just makes it, like it's a layer. It's another layer to try to protect you if you've got title insurance. But all of this it's so frustrating. I do like the idea of having the automated house, make sure you've got neighbors that are paying attention. In fact, I was reading a number of other articles, and they were saying that the close-knit neighborhoods, they just don't have this like you see in areas where you don't know your neighbors, you don't know their names.
Yeah, and that is the strategy behind having an alarm, too, that if somebody sets off the alarm, then when the cops get there, you can say, hey, he set off my alarm. Clearly, he doesn't live here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or she doesn't live here.
Yeah.
Whoever the squatter is.
This is a trespass. This isn't a tenant situation.
Right.
Yeah. What a mess all that is.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.